figure out how to surrender, and go surrender. There is no glory around the hill. There is no bright side that's about to come up. In this war, a lot of the communications between soldiers and their families have been intercepted by the Ukrainian intelligence agencies. That's actually how a lot of the audio from locations like Bucha, where the Russians committed horrific war crimes, executing civilians with their hands tied behind their backs, a lot of murder, a lot of atrocities, how we actually got a lot of admissions to those war crimes, where soldiers are calling back home saying, we killed civilians because we were scared they were going to go back and tell the Ukrainians where we were. We couldn't detain them, so we just shot them. And that type of admission is going to be extremely important for the historical record after this war, even if not necessarily for war crimes trials, because odds are Russia's going to get away with it, sadly. Anyway, recently a phone call was intercepted between a Russian soldier who was forcefully mobilized by the Russian government and sent to Ukrainians fighting in a very difficult area right now, fighting around Donetsk. This is where the battle for Bakhmut is going on. A very bloody battle that has high casualties on both the Ukrainian and Russian sides. While fighting over there, he has started to communicate with his father, and he is expressing the difficulties he's had with the war, and he gets pretty emotional, like very emotional. And I wanted to play you this audio to show you guys that this war is having a real effect on the will to fight of the average Russian soldier, especially those who haven't chosen to be here and were forcefully mobilized.
Yeah.
Let's watch. I'm going to do the best to do a translation for those of you who are just listening to audio. And when I say translation, I mean I'm going to read the subtitles. I know what was happening in Chechnya in the first and second campaigns, but what's happening here didn't even happen in Chechnya. For fuck's sakes, this is so fucking bad. They just dumped you, and to fuck with you. Right? That is it. Stop tearing your soul. This is the father responding. Everyone is a nervous wreck. I can't. Dad, you see, I'm not so worried for myself as for my platoon. I already have 300 wounded. 3! You have what? I have 300 wounded. Fuck. I'm holding on with my last strength, but it's fucked. I heard you. This is pure mockery. You're sitting in one location. Shelled with mortars, crab SPGs, this damn ho-ho artillery. That's a slur for Ukrainian people. Response? No response from ours. Ours are adjusting fire. Let them wiretap. Ours are fucking us up. They're just killing us. No counter-artillery battery fire, as I understand? What the hell is this? Here, you understand. Even the comms are bad. There are practically no comms with any company. No proper agreement to send them some coordinates. It's a complete mess. I'm losing you. All right, son. Hold on there. Don't get too bummed. I'll do what I can from here. We're in total shit. Total shit. It's this bad. The guys who are without any training, I understand how it was in Chechnya, but for fuck's sake, you mobilized so many people. Couldn't you train them? So many specialists are sitting in Moscow, St. Petersburg, over 100,000. They're all petrified of coming here, petrified. We are untrained here. Of course, in this time, we learned something, but are just sitting without getting out. Fuck. The guys are so young, of any age, just fuck's sake, this is fucked. I can't express, by the way, like, I won't repeat it here, right? I have to read over this so the people just listening by audio can hear it. But just listen to the tenor of his voice. Like, I'm not expressing the type of emotions this guy is feeling. So just listen to the soldier here. Just listen to the voice. You don't need to listen to what he's saying because it's in Russian. You won't understand it. But listen to the tone of his voice.
Вашу, блин. Да просто. Такие ребята, блин, просто вот молодые, блин, любого возраста. Ну, твою мать.
That's a man that's at the point of breaking. That's a man who can't really be pushed too much further. And the only advice I could possibly give to a man who didn't even choose to be there, but was forced by his government to go to Ukraine to slaughter the locals, and is now being thrown feet first into a wood chipper that is the battle for Bakhmut, or the battle for any of these cities and villages in the Donetsk region, which is just a bloodbath right now, high casualties on both sides. It's just surrender, man. Find out a way to surrender. The Ukrainian military has posted publicly instructions in Russian on their social media accounts and online on how to surrender to the Ukrainian military. Go watch that video, figure out how to surrender, and go surrender. There is no glory around the hill. There is no bright side that's about to come up. There is no, savior or massive army coming to save it. Second wave of mobilization won't do that. Doing the same thing that hasn't worked so far a second time is not going to fix the issues with supplies or logistics, or the issues with morale, or the issues with training, or any of the issues with communications that this guy actively is talking about, that they don't have good comms. The issue of them being easily their communications being easily intercepted, just like this communication was easily intercepted. These issues are not going to be resolved anytime in the near future. And so if this guy wants to stop seeing his buddies die, or doesn't want to see himself die, the easiest way for him and his buddies not to die is to go and surrender to the Ukrainian army. They'll be given food, they'll be taken in, they'll be put in some prison somewhere, but it's a lot better than the terrible freezing temperatures of the Russian trenches in Donetsk, where people are quite literally freezing to death because the Russians lost 1.5 million winter uniforms. And when I say lost them, I mean they quite literally just disappeared and they don't know where they went. Now, we have assumptions about where they went, where they were most likely sold out of the back of trucks by corrupt officials. But now that they've already been sold, the deed is done, and now these soldiers are freezing to death because of the inept nature of their government and how corrupt this country is. And you know what? I saw a lot of people like, Dave Rubin and others who, before this war, played these like ads. They played these military ads, these Russian military ads, and compared them to American military ads. And they said, oh, the American military ads are so woke, even though they're still like good old-timey, like Marines are strong and powerful type military ads playing, but they diversified the type of military ads to appeal to people that the military traditionally doesn't appeal to. And they would compare that ad to the Russian ad, which is a lot more manly. And they would say, wow, look at the cohesion of Russia. Look at these Russian soldiers who are willing to fight and die for Russia. Look at the mighty Russia compared to cucked America, right? That is the distinction that was drawn up. But come to find out that in Russia, the mighty dollar has as much power as it does in the United States. And corruption is a force of immense strength in Russia, and it is actively undermining the Russian war effort. And for as much intelligence that we had when it came to satellites and hacking the communications and predicting exactly when this invasion was going to happen, that was all technical intelligence. We don't have as much human intelligence in Russia. So it isn't that surprising that we were able to miss exactly how much corruption was going to play a role. And so with all these factors playing on and all these things going on with the shortages and the lack of food and the lack of winter equipment, you just surrender. It's not worth it, man. You're not getting anything out of this. You didn't choose to be here. Just surrender, man. The government says they'll punish you. As long as you're in Ukrainian captivity, they can't punish you. And you want to know what? I would still feel safer in Ukrainian captivity knowing one day I'm still going to have to go back to Russia than I would be fighting on the front lines of a war where I know the Ukrainians are not going to surrender. They're not going to give up. And you're not taking Kiev anytime soon.